Hey friends, hi, hello, hola, wherever you're listening from. Welcome to another episode of Heart to Earth with Estitude. You know, it's me, your girl again, Esther, and I'm here, even though it's been a minute since the last time I shared with you guys. Our life has been quite interesting, and I'm sure that you've been doing well. You've been living your best life and all. If my voice is a little bit harsh, just manage with me. I want to do this very, hopefully, short podcast to just give you guys updates and just talk about life. Is that fine? Can we dive into it? Alright, so let's go. So it's been a minute, right, that I last did a podcast. Life has quite been interesting, and yeah, I have several gist to give you guys. But one of the things I first want to talk about is, this thing where we say we want to live our best lives, or we have certain goals we're pursuing. For some people, they want to keep exercising, they want to keep eating healthy foods. Do you guys ever experience a thing where you probably have a routine or, a way of life that you work with, but when certain things come into your life or certain incidences, you just realize that something triggers a change? For instance, if you normally would exercise every morning and then you had to travel for something urgent and then you stopped because of your travels or something, when you getting back to your routine, is it usually as easy for you as, when before you traveled? Do you get? So I realize sometimes when people want to eat healthy and they try, and maybe when they fall sick, they have to just, take medications and probably eat some things they said they don't want to eat because they're trying to live a healthy life. And then when they're back and they're feeling much better, to go back to the previous style of life sometimes could be difficult. And I just noticed it, and I think it's one of the things that has happened to me, right? Even my exercising these days is just like somewhere I've packed it in my box. I have to unbox it again, but podcasting, blogging, and all of that has been on a low burner because of lives and circumstances and all. So for me, this year has been a year of exams. Yeah, between January and May, I've written about 3 major exams. And the pressure of preparing for exams and trying to read and study and trying to remember that, I have a podcast channel and I have a blog channel and I have my video that I'm running and I have work. Some things are just like, okay, just calm down, I'm coming back to you. And just trying to say, let me just close this exam out. And I did some like back to back, so I didn't even have time for some other things. So yeah, I just want to know, is this a thing that you also experience? You could record an audio if you're listening on Anchor, or if you're listening via Google Play. You could check out my social media and drop me a chat, Estitude_Instagram, Estitude on Twitter. Right, let me know what your experience is like. So recently also, my friend, my sister, we've been living together for over 3 years now. She got married. Feels so emotional. Yeah, money bigo, right? And I'm quite excited for her. It's also another change, but I'm excited about the journey. That's one of the interesting things that happened. So we traveled to go for it. And I have several of my friends that actually got married recently. It was an interesting, this last 2 weekends, even though I had exam, right? I did an exam like this last week. The past 2 weekends and some other have been quite interesting, filled with Owambes. Oh well, yeah, and it's just been interesting to go and rejoice, dance with my friends. Have you had friends that got wedded to recently? How was it? Did you have fun? Did you dance with them? Did you guys just, have a great time? Last year we said there was a lot of weddings, but the prayer that Pastor Adeboye prayed end of last year, well, if you're in Nigeria and you relate, if you're a Lagosian, you'll probably relate to the prayer. It was a very popular meme that was going around late last year. So 2020 was a lot of marriages, but 2021 will be like way more. And I've seen a lot of it, and it's quite exciting to see how everything will pan out. So yeah, so updates on, exams, done quite some. We've done weddings, had a few of that. Then I think the last one is updates on birthday. Is that a lot of update? I don't know. Birthday was like a month or 2 ago. I wanted to actually go like on a trip, just something an adventure trip. It's been a while. Been busy with several things, so I'm still thinking about it. Probably find a day or two after all the pressure of exams, of work, and everything. Just find a place to go, play, have fun. Sounds like water because I can hear water in my head. Maybe a beach. I just have fun and all of that. So this is me saying, let me come and check on you guys. And I think I'm just going to touch on the part of that life season thingy where you go through a phase, then because of certain things, you do not stick to your usual regimen or schedule. And then you have to come back and then you try to, get yourself to the point where you're able to do those things. And again, it tells me about the fact that living your best life is more of a marathon than a sprint. So people that say they want to live healthy, for instance, and they want to eat healthy food, and they say, I'm going to take off all carbohydrate from my diet, I'm going to take off all this, all that. Sometimes it's not quite sustainable, in my opinion, right? And now, no, this is my opinion. I would rather that one goes through a season of, taking it bit by bit. So, for instance, you want to cut out carbohydrate to a large extent from your diet. Okay, what are the major carbohydrates you eat? Can you stop taking one for a while or stop taking two? Can you try portion control instead of just taking it out fully? And little by little, you're able to learn to not take too much of it. And then, look for a more sustainable way, because I know several people who used to be like, oh, I'm going to the gym, I'm going to be taking green tea in the morning, I'm going to be taking just yogurt and salads. But after like a few months, you see them, they're back to their size that they were before the journey, and even more, because it's not a sustainable way of, choosing to live healthy. So I'll give you an example. I sometimes at the beginning of the year, I'll join some, what do you call this thing? These people that do like healthy, like eating programs, have different diet that they do. So I joined some in the beginning of the year to sort of do like a diet, what's this word you call this thing? But yeah, flushing your body of toxins. So there's a name for it. It's going off my head currently. So I would join those programs, choose to do some detoxing, right? So it's detoxing. I'll do some detoxing, and then I know that as much as possible, I do not take soda. I do not take some certain things because that's more sustainable for me. And then when I eat, I practice portion control. I do not eat late as much as possible. So it's in the long run. I'm not saying I'm not going to be taking this certain type of food. Instead, I'll do portion control, and then I'll begin to reduce the amount of salt I take. Those ways that to me are more sustainable. So as young people, we're choosing to say we want to live healthy, we want to do some certain things. So some people, they want to go to the gym. Take it bit by bit, right? Start with some morning routines in your house. See how to be sustainable of that. Choose a gym body that will keep you accountable, and these things will help you to do it more sustainably. And then even in times when you maybe do not keep up to your regular, living your best life routine, you're able to know that it's not a sprint. Even though I've had to take a break from this for so and so reason, I can come back to it anytime I want. And not even anytime I want, as soon as I'm able to get back to it. And when I get back to it, I'm not feeling guilty that, I didn't exercise for the past 1 week or past 2 months. I just get back to it because I've known that this is the lifestyle I want to embrace, and I got to keep doing it. So this is me saying that if you had a routine, maybe you read early in the morning, you read a book per month, and maybe because of certain situations, you didn't have the opportunity to do it. Whenever you have the opportunity to start again, do not let guilt stop you, like feeling bad. I've not done it in a while. Just get back to it because it's a lifestyle you're choosing to embrace. So the people that see, if you've seen pictures that go around now, for instance, people that are celebrating their 40th year birthday, and they're doing photo shoots. Some people are doing 50 years birthday photo shoot, and you see that they look so young and great and amazing. Some people, they have a lot of money, I gotta give it to them. But some people, I know that it's them choosing healthier lifestyle options as they were younger. So in their 20s and 30s, they probably cut down on alcohol, they did not smoke, or and they chose to not eat like as if they want to eat mountain. I do not really know, but choosing healthier lifestyles from younger age will give you so many benefits. I think that's what this podcast is turning towards. Healthier lifestyle options. Well, it's what I'm about. Living your best life. It contains an healthy living, wealthy living, happy living. So have fun, go out with friends, celebrate with people who are celebrating, eat healthy, read, get educated. And getting educated doesn't mean what's the word? It doesn't mean like you have to go to a particular school. There's YouTube, just Google, there's so many tutorials online, free courses you could take to make you a better person, and then have something that you're working towards. So if you're living an aimless life, you will just go wherever lifestyle will push you, but know what's something you're working towards. So healthy, happy, and wealthy, work on that your finance. It's not every time you go to spend. Have a savings plan, have an investment plan, have an emergency funds bucket where you can keep some funds, and just live your best life, because this is not just me saying, okay, it's as if I have some time now. I'm coming back to my schedule. I'm going to try to do more podcasts. Yeah, by God's grace, blog more, and then my brand Mivida. We've had one event this year, but we should have another event in the works. So several things are coming together, and 2021 is still great. So whatever phase you may be in your life right now, your failures do not define you, and I want you to note that your failures do not define you. It is what you make of it. So there are several things I've done this year that probably like, oh no, I shouldn't have done that. But so I've done it, right? So the way for me not to do it again is to be intentional and realize, okay, I did that because of this, and I'm not going to do that, and I'm trying to move forward. I'm not going to get stuck in the rut of regret. You get that? I feel like that was a rhyme. Don't get stuck in the rut of regret. Anyways, right? Don't let your failures define you. Whatever the year may have been for you, good, awesome, great, not so great, don't let those things define you. Instead, let it pour you on to more greatness, because you, my friend, you are amazing. So I'm not going to let this podcast be long at all, but I want you guys to please share my podcast with your friends. If you enjoy listening to me, share with your friends and families, and then reach out to me on social media. Let's build a community of people who are intentional about living their best lives. And if you know what Mivida is about, Mivida is my brand. We're intentional about organizing events, creating initiatives and stuff to empower young adults to live their best lives. So I come your way again, I'm giving you a peace sign even though you can't see me, and I'm saying cheers. Sorry about the voice. Cheers to living our best lives, and you will see me again very soon in your DM. Cheers, bye. This thing where we say hi friends, hello, welcome to another episode of Heart to Heart with Institute. On this podcast episode, I share with you inspiring and engaging posts as we journey to live our best lives. And it's been an exciting journey with you guys, and I'm really excited today. Why? Because it is the beginning of the second half of the year. Wow. Just like that. I saw a post on social media that said something like, in another 6 months, 2020 will be saying, 2020 was like 2 years ago. And I'm like, whoa, our time can fly. 2021, we were really waiting for 2021. At least many people were like, let's just get over 2020 with COVID and everything. And then 2021 was here, and then COVID continued, but at least lockdown was not like a lot as it was in the previous year, especially here in Lagos, Nigeria. So it's been an interesting journey, 2021, and here we are, July already. I'm like, how does it fly? The year started for me, I think it started very fast. I was like, it's fast. Then we got to May, and I think it got really slow. And I was just like, okay, can it just be fast again? So that's me just generally reviewing, just looking back on the journey. So how have you been? How has life been with you? How are you feeling today, wherever you're listening from, and even whenever you're listening to this? Yeah, how has the 2021 been? I want to check up on you. I want to share a little nugget. I just want to like catch up with you guys. I'm big on like goal setting and all that stuff. So generally, end of a particular sort of like session, or like instance, in this case, end of the first half of the year would mean like a review of like my goals at the beginning of that I had set at the beginning of the year, or a review of things I want to accomplish like before the end of the year. Yes, so that's what it typically mean, and it's still part of what I'm going to do. I just want to talk to you guys. It's as humans, or I don't know if it's everywhere in the world, but in this side of the world, right? New months, New Year's, new weeks, usually like symbolic to people in terms of like it feels like an opportunity to like take on something, a challenge, or take on something that has probably been like pending, well, and it doesn't necessarily mean that it's a new opportunity, but it's just the way we've like look at New Year and you set New Year goals and all of that stuff. Basically, it's a repetition of another day, but it provides an opportunity to try again. So when we look at a second half, for instance, maybe you said at the beginning of the year, I wanted to be able to do this, and you're like, whoa, I've not done enough. I've not even scratched the surface. How am I going to like even like hit my target for this year? So I want to talk about that, and I want to talk about some other things that I just thought of, and I was like, let me share with you guys. Let's like just discuss, right? Okay, so first thing I want to talk about is still about goal settings, and maybe not goal setting, maybe like purpose. So I was having a conversation with a friend recently, and we're talking about purpose and how people are like looking for this big purpose. I want to like be this big thing. I want to achieve this big thing. And I wrote something on my social media yesterday, which was sometimes we're so like concerned about like the bigger stuff, whereas all that is needed from us at a particular point is just faith enough for like the next step. While it's have big dreams, grand goals, all this great stuff, sometimes all you need is actually like, let me just take this step at a time. Let me just face today and then face tomorrow. And then when I'm able to overcome today and overcome tomorrow, I'm able to overcome next week and next month. Do you understand? So sometimes, as much as we should be like all about the big stuff, sometimes just like relax. Yeah, so this year for me, for instance, I had some goals, and thankfully it's been a productive year if I think about it. I wrote certain exams, about 3 exams between January and May. So the first half of the year was like really hectic, plus work was really, 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 really hectic. Yeah, it was really hectic, and just having to juggle all of that stuff just felt like a lot. And some people, for them, it's been different things they've had to deal with, right? But I feel like as much as many times when we do review of like our goals, do review of like things that we had set for a particular period of time, we're trying to beat down ourselves and say, oh, I didn't do this, could I not have done this? Yeah, do that, but maybe not do that this time around. Maybe focus on the million little miracles that you ignored in the process of trying to achieve like the bigger dream. Now, there's several miracles that I've had this year. I've had like a lot of good things happen to my friends, happen to me, and it's so easy to like get caught in the things that we're still looking up to God for. Do you get? So like I'm really looking up to God for certain things in my life right now, but if I let those things like overshadow the other things He has done or God has done for me, I'm not going to be grateful. I'm going to be in a state of constant anxiety, constant worry, like, oh God, when are you going to do this other stuff? How is this going to come through? Do you understand? Whereas I have like so many things to be thankful for. I think in May I had to, I follow Kemi and Obanjo, Kemi Joseph, and she talks about having a gratitude list a lot. And I've tried gratitude journaling. In short, now I have a journal where I just like wake up in the morning, I want to write things I'm grateful for. And one of these days in the month of May, I picked up a page and I'm like, this page is going to be things I'm grateful for in the month of May. And I tried to just ensure that beyond like the small things which are like thankful for good health, which is not even small, be like things like, or general things, maybe I meant general things like specific miracles that happened to me, my friends, my loved ones. And I had stuff to write. I literally had to write that whole page. And having a heart of gratitude is very crucial, actually. Even as a goal setter, it's important to be able to acknowledge your growth, even though when you know that there are things you need to work on, but acknowledge your growth and then know areas where like you need to like improve on yourself, right? So I was talking about the little things, or I'm going to talk about little things next. I was talking about the fact that sometimes it's not in the grand things, it's in the baby steps we take, because the bigger, grander steps are made up from a baby step. So however your January to June may have gone, now let's look at how we can basically like say, okay, I'm just going to, maybe for the month of July, maybe for the first week in July, I'm just going to walk with God and just take a day at a time and just breathe, right? Just breathe, just be, and try to be in tune with God, because that's essentially what we're made for. We're made for to walk with God and show forth His glory. Every other thing is like just additions, right? Every other things are like additions, basically. So let's talk about the little things now. We've talked about how we should like just take a day at a time sometimes, and not just like be too anxious about the bigger things. Now, so when you now talk about little things again in terms of like baby steps, so there are things that we sometimes are so busy with life we ignore, things like staying healthy. Now these days, like a lot of young people are coming up with like several sicknesses that you would hear that used to affect people in their older ages, like high blood pressure, diabetes, and you're like, whoops. You're still young at 25. How do you get that? Yeah, because we're so much like pressurized about I'm trying to achieve this, which is not bad. I'm trying to achieve this, and we forget about taking care of ourselves. Things like drinking water daily is also part of this I'm talking about. So ask yourself, how often do you take water? For instance, I'm asking you. So things like trying to exercise. This table that I'm shaking, a little bit on it, but these are simple habits that we need to like inculcate, like reaching out to friends, building a community of people that you can work with and do life with, right? I think what is important here is looking at the long term. Whatever you're doing, thinking of it in terms of like the long term. So for instance, why do you exercise? Is it just because you want to lose like your 20 kg or 10 kg or 2 kg? That's like a short-term goal, but long-term, you want to be fit, you want to be healthy, you want to live long, and in your old age, you don't want to be dealing with some sicknesses that you could have avoided. So if that's your goal, you would then take it easy. You won't want to like cut out all the I think I've talked about this in one of my previous episodes, so I'm not going to dwell too much on it, but basically like take baby steps, don't kill yourself, okay? Okay, so I talked about exercising, eating, reaching out to friends and family, and then contributing to society in terms of whatever skills you have. It could be speaking to some certain people, or mentoring some certain people, or sharing your knowledge on the internet. I feel like service or contribution to the community is a very important part of who we are as like human beings. So I'm not going to make this podcast very long. It's just basically catch up and just like general like life nuggets that you could hold, and you could share with me too things that you've learned like this year, life lessons that you hold, or values that you hold that pushes you to all that you want to do or be, right? So I just wanted to add something else though that's not really related to little things. It's about understanding who you are enough to so something happened recently, and someone that had been in a situation that was like toxic realized they had had enough, and they wanted to leave that situation, and they moved on they were able to move on. They had a goal that they were going to leave. It wasn't a relationship, but it was a situation. Yeah, it was still a relationship, but not like a romantic relationship, but it was a situation where they had to be in contact with some people that were not really healthy for them. So when they got out of it and just reviewing how that was for them, feedback was like, oh wow. Sometimes when you've been in the wrong place for too long, when you get to the right place or when you experience the right thing, it feels weird or abnormal. So it just reminded me of the fact that sometimes, too many times, life or situations make us like begin to see things that are normal like as abnormal. So being kind to people, being considerate of others, because we're in a world where we're typically selfish. Everybody's trying to like do their thing, like we definitely have things we're trying to pursue. So being considerate of others doesn't just normally come to many people. So treating others kindly, the way they should, not even kindly, and then treating other people right doesn't come to some people. Some people also are just like naturally wicked. So I think what is important first is understanding yourself, knowing that some things may not be right, and if you're in a situation that is toxic, be it a relationship, be it a job, be it a friendship, be it anything, and you just feel like, nah, this is not healthy. Maybe it's causing you like mental stress, maybe it's causing you to think a lot, and thinking is not good. Like overthinking leads to high blood pressure. Yeah, but it's real. So so when you realize something is not healthy for you, you may need to let go. So I read something again on social media, which was yesterday, was like, you learn to cut off dead ends for growth. You know, as ladies, sometimes we advise to like trim our hair at the end of the year or something, at the end of the season, just so it can grow out again. Just trim off the dead ends. And this is not like your hair alone. When you're in relationships, situationships, wherever, and you realize this is a dead end, it's not helping you grow, it's draining you, you may learn that okay, it's actually time to like move on. Yeah, so these are some of the things I wanted to share with you guys today, and just like wish you an amazing, wonderful, and blissful, joyful second half of the year. I pray that you are able to enjoy the journey, experience the journey as much as you go through. That life doesn't rush you through too much, that before you realize it's December and you don't even know what you've done with yourself. I pray you have a sweet relationship with God, because it's actually very important, and that you just be all that you can be, keeping amazing, keeping awesome, keeping thoughtful of others, keeping your best self, again, till I come your way another time. Love and light always. Cheers.